Then I go to my definition of power, right? And power, when people associate lots of negative things with that word, right? People with power do bad things, and the power is not good. You should not chase power. But I think they associate those negative reactions to the word power because they associate experiences where power has been used for bad things, right? But power is, I define power as the amount of control an individual or entity has over their environment, okay? And what is environment? Environment is the place where you spend most of your time. So a person that lives in New York City, studying at a university there, and living in New York City, they spend most of their time in New York City, in their apartment, in university, so that is their environment, right? It's the territory where they spend most of their time. And the amount of control you have over your environment, it means if you are able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, in your environment, right? While this is like control, doing what you want to do and not doing what you don't want to do. And there is a correlation between power and happiness, in my opinion, because the more control you have over your environment, the more freedom you have, the more you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, which then makes you feel happy. And Morgan Housel, he defined the key to happiness as being the ability to do what you want, when you want. I have already said it many times, you know what I mean. But if you notice and analyze it a little bit, the ability to do what you want, when you want, and so forth, it's essentially control, right? Because if you have control, you're able to choose that. And if you don't have control, you're not able to do that. You're not able to choose. Other people choose for you. So they control you. Okay? But if you're able to do it, if you have control over the environment, then you have power. And you can essentially change this quote to the key to happiness is power. And then we have the essential resources of reality. Okay? So what are these? These are the building blocks of what we experience, of where we live, and everything around us. These are time, space, matter, energy, money, knowledge, and human relationships. Energy is what allows technology to do what it does, do the magic it does, right? If your phone does not have battery, energy, you cannot talk to your friends or family when you are somewhere else. But if you do, you have energy, then you're able to do it. So you feel happy. When you have time to do what you want to do, I want to go to the gym, I have time to do that, I feel happy. But if I don't have time to do it, then I feel unhappy, right? If I don't have so many years left of my life to live, I feel unhappy. Okay? Because time is a resource. And it's the same with space. Space, land, it's where you're able to build houses, build buildings, all of the innovations you want to do. It's a resource, costs money. Matter, objects like computer, projector, a phone, those are matter, right? It's atoms grouped up together that are able to give you value. And then you have energy with it. Then we have money, a resource that allows you to gain other resources. I can trade my money to get a smartphone. I can trade my money to buy energy, buy gas, so then I can drive my car. I can use money to buy land, buy space. I can also use money to save up my time if I, for example, want to learn mathematics, something very advanced. I can either learn all of it from scratch in 10 hours, or I can pay an expert $1,000 so they can teach it to me in 1 hour, 30 minutes, okay? And then you have knowledge, which we went through, and it's defined as, let's just go back. Familiarity with someone or something, okay? Knowledge is familiarity with someone or something. So it's essentially knowing what happens or what won't happen associated with different areas, okay? So let's look at an example, economics. Economics is defined as the knowledge of the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. With that knowledge, you can analyze each country to see how well they are doing, how much money they're generating with revenue each month. And you can then see which country can be better to live in, right? A higher GDP generally means that you can achieve a higher wage salary. And human relationships, the final resource of reality, okay? So human relationships, human beings, they're people you know, people you can talk to, and people that can help you. So if I know a person and that person is able to do something I don't know how to do, I can go to that person and ask them how to do something, and then they help me, right? They can give me the knowledge I need to solve a problem or something. If I have a relationship with a friend of mine and he's a banker and I need some money to create this project that will make me a millionaire, I can go to him, say, hey, look at this idea, this project, man. We're going to be rich if we do this project, right? So then he pays me money, so then I build a project, and then we become rich together. Yeah. So it leads to opportunities and other resources, right? And I would argue that knowledge is the most important resource. And why do I say this? Why is knowledge the most important? Because familiarity with someone or something is what gives value, right? So if I know knowledge about programming, okay, then I can use the programming to provide value to other people, and then after I provide value to the other people, they pay me back by helping me with something else that I need their help with, or they can pay me money, right? Which I then can use to do other things. For example, to buy a house, an apartment, so I become happier. And there's interconnections between all these resources. With knowledge, you can learn all of the other resources, so then you can do better actions, which then will lead you to becoming happier, right? With money, you can, for example, trade it to get energy, get gas at a gas station. You can pay someone to teach you something that you want to learn. You can pay someone to give you land, pay someone to give you food, right? And with human relationships, you can get people to help you with either money, knowledge, or energy when you need to do something difficult. So there's lots of interconnections between all of these. And the environment can also be the collection of resources, right? Back to the example in New York City. A person that's studying there, the resources they have are their classmates at university, right? They can create human relationships, become friends, which they then can get help acquiring knowledge, something they don't understand in class, or they can use the jobs in New York to get a job and then get money, so they can then buy matter or food in New York City in their environment, right? So an environment, land or territory is just a collection of a bunch of resources, right? Lots of people there, the population, and lots of knowledge, books, etc., lots of money that can be traded, lots of energy, gas, electricity, lots of matter, buildings, lots of space, area, and lots of time. People all have time to do something, but if you're not able to do everything, you can pay money to other people so they can do something that you're not able to do because you don't have time. And quality of life. So what is quality of life? I can define quality of life as the amount of satisfaction in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So if you look at the person that has a bad quality of life, they live in a poor country, they're not able to have food or fresh water that they need to survive, which then leads them to suffer because of the absence in the physiological needs, and that makes their quality of life bad, pretty low. While if you go to rich country, let's say Monaco, right, and you're able to have enough money so you can buy all the food, all the water you need to satisfy the physiological needs. You satisfy the physiological needs and you feel happy because you have, and when you're able to do that, satisfy more of the needs, then you have a high quality of life, right? And how you can measure your quality of life is by analyzing Maslow's hierarchy of needs and seeing where do I fit into it, right? Are my physiological needs established, right? Are they satisfied? Are my belonging needs established? Self-actualization. If they're not, then my quality of life is not the best. But if I'm able to improve them and they suddenly become, then my quality of life becomes better. And how knowledge can increase your quality of life, like we went through back here, we saw that knowledge can increase all the other ones, right? If you learn a high-value skill like programming or creating artificial intelligence, you suddenly get hired by a company that needs that, then they pay you more money because of the knowledge you have, which then gives you more resources, more ability to control the environment, more power, which you then can use to satisfy the needs on Maslow's hierarchy. So you can use knowledge to increase your quality of life by increasing the other resources here, right? You use knowledge to, you have money, right? You have $1,000 in the bank. How can I make this money grow by investments? Okay, I can buy a stock in a company that is growing very rapidly. Their stock price is going to the moon, as they say in Wall Street. So I can then put my money there, and after 1 year, and it goes to the moon, the stock price increases, my money suddenly is worth 10 times more, right? So I used my knowledge of the stock market and the company that is growing to increase my money. And after I increase my money, I then use it to buy more food, better apartment, more vacations. In general, my quality of life increases. So the unity between the concepts, what is it? You can look at knowledge as the foundation of everything, right? By being familiar with someone or something, you can then do actions which then improve the other resources, money, time, space, matter, human relationships, which you then use to satisfy Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the more you satisfy Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the more happiness you feel and the less suffering you feel. And the hypothesis that I have that the more you're able to satisfy Maslow's hierarchy, the more happy you feel, it's valid, because happiness is the absence of suffering, right? And people suffer when they're not able to eat enough food or water which they need to survive. But if they're able to satisfy that need, then they don't feel suffering, so they feel happy because they do not feel the suffering, right? You see the absence of each other. Happiness, I'm happy because I'm not suffering. And I'm suffering because I'm not happy, right? So you cannot have one without the other. And then we went to the definition of power, which is the amount of control you have over the environment, the place where you spend most of your time, and the resources in that territory, right? the more control you have over what you want to do, when you want to do, with who you want to do for as long as you want to do, then the more happiness you feel, because the more you're able to satisfy Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the essential resources of reality, which we went through: time, money, matter, energy, space, human relationships, and the seventh, I don't remember. So with knowledge, you can increase your quality of life by satisfying more of Maslow's hierarchy of needs after increasing your resources. And this is why knowledge is power. Because the more knowledge you have, the more you're able to increase your resources. And the more resources you have, the more control you have over your environment, which is power. Being able to do what you want to do when you want to do, with who you want to do, and for as long as you want to do. So knowledge is power because of this. And I wish I actually learned this quite sooner. Right? People say, knowledge is power. What does that even mean, man? Right? But if I was able to understand, like I do now, why knowledge is power, then essentially at 12 or 14 years old, I would be able to be happier. These are the references, the websites that I used. You can check them out at the description if you want to.